you tweeted referring to Phil Ivey as the GOAT, saying the GOAT doing GOAT things. That's a recent tweet. So can you make the case for Phil Ivey, or maybe who is the greatest poker player of all time? Would you put Phil?
For me, until someone knocks him off the podium, the king of poker and the GOAT is Phil Ivey. Okay. So, and the reason I say that is I think of poker as more than just one game, right? There's different variants. There's Hold'em, Omaha, Stud, Triple Draw, all these different types of games. And Phil, in every arena, has been dominant. Whether it was tournament poker, dominated it. Mixed game, high stakes poker in Bobby's room, dominated. Online poker against all the wizards, dominated. Made millions in every arena. And, he sort of took a few years away from poker with his legal troubles and things like that, but he's back. He's been playing in the high roller series again. And, he's cut from a different cloth, but he has a tenacity and a focus that's unparalleled, I think. When he's in the zone, and this has nothing to do with race, it really has to do with mannerism, but he does remind me of like a combination of Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods in the way that he approaches it. He's very intense.
Yeah.
And he outworks everybody, and I think, frankly, a lot of his mannerisms do come from them because he's young, watching these guys on TV, and a lot of his ways of being, his learned behavior, I think probably from people like that.
People at the top of their sport, and people that are Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan aren't just at the top of their sport, but they kind of dominate the sport. There's some kind of aura that...
There's a uniqueness to them. They're not built like us. They're not, they're not. Like, I wish I could have the kind of focus that Phil Ivey has, and see everything that he's saying. That's not me, I don't have that. And he does. He has that gene, whatever it is.
But they also look like they're not having that much fun. They're more focused on the perfection, like a dogged pursuit of perfection.
And, that might even be true. It might not be as fun. I don't know. Like, I have fun at the table. When you look outwardly, you look at someone, like, maybe he is having a blast. Maybe that's just the way that he likes, like, is Tiger Woods having fun when he's like on 17 about to win a major? Doesn't look like it, theoretically.
Yeah. Well, if you look at Michael Jordan, I don't know about Tiger Woods, but I think they're more focused on every single mistake they make. Yeah. I think they're more obsessed about not making a mistake and hating every time they make a mistake. That's probably like 99% of their mental energy.
I think that's part of what makes them great, right? They don't look past the mistake and just let it's whatever. No, they're like, they want to correct it. And
yeah, there's a tension, almost like a trade-off. I wonder if that's always the case between sort of greatness and happiness.
I remember Huck Seed, who, when I was a kid growing up, he was like the poker idol. He won the world championship in 1996, and I was lucky enough to hang out with him a little bit. And he would go through these streaks where he had an A game and he had an F game. His A game was unparalleled. Nobody could beat him, right? But his F game was so terrible that he was just a fish. He was playing terribly. And I remember him saying, and it was exactly what you're saying, he'd make like one little mistake, right? And then he would go off. And I was like, why do you do that? Like, your B game would be just fine. He's like, well, if I'm going to make a mistake, what's the point? What's the point, right?
Yeah.
Of trying. Yeah. Like, if you can't play perfect, there's no point in playing at all.
Yeah.
So he was extreme in that regard, in the way that he viewed it.
And depending on the sport, those folks, like in chess, certainly the case, that kind of mindset can destroy you.
Absolutely. No, I totally see that.
A sequence of mistakes, like the kind of year you had with the World Series of Poker, can completely destroy a human being if you're not able to see the bigger picture of it.
Yeah.
You said that Phil Ivey is the hardest, your toughest opponent, the toughest person to play against. Why is that? And how do you beat him?
Well, because Phil Ivey's he's seeing things that nobody else is seeing, really, like subtle things, where I'm putting my hands, where I'm looking, my pulse, like stuff that I don't even know I'm giving off. Yeah. He's so engaged and so focused and has such he's fearless, right? A lot of people, they'll play poker and be like, I don't think this guy has it. But do they have the guts? Do they have the cojones, if you will, to actually do anything about it, right? And stand up to this person? He does.
Yeah, I forgot the hand that you tweeted about the goat doing goat things.
That wasn't even that big of a goat hand, but like, it was pretty impressive. There's hands where, like, there was a famous one in Australia where the flop was like Jack 9, and Phil check raised the flop with 6-7, nothing, just absolutely nothing, and the guy re-raised him, right? And Phil just knew. He went all in with nothing. If the guy calls, he's done. He's cooked. But he was so tuned in that this guy's not strong that he just, he did things like that. And It's tough to play against a guy like that.
So he gets great reads and is able to execute on them, has the guts to execute on it.
He's got experience. He's got work ethic. He also, I think one thing I'm underselling too is his strategic mind, right? Like I believe that, you know, like I said, the new age player, they learn how to play through a very systematic approach. Okay, let's look at the data. Make up a game right now. 3 cards. We each get 3 cards. Jacks are wild. 6s are, 6 of hearts is wild, right? Just make up that game. Phil will figure it out intuitively, very, very quickly, right? Without having the answers for him, right? Mm-hmm. So that's like the difference between the players of my generation. We had to figure this stuff out on our own. Mm-hmm. Today, I want to know the answer. I go ask the computer, and the computer tells me. So I really believe, like, if you created a game from scratch, that Phil Ivey would be my horse that I wanted to play in it.
So he's in some sense in tune with some deeper thing within.
He has what we used to call card sense.